Hello and welcome to Scarlet Serpent readings. Thank you so much for joining me for today's special timeless pick a card reading where we will be receiving a message from the crows. And this reading is actually going to have shamanic drumming in the background. Hopefully I could tweak it so it's not overwhelming but still audible. But I wanted to give a shout out. This was a viewer request in a way. So thank you. You know who you are. I don't know if I want to put you on blast like that, but I did also want to give a shout out to Celtic Fairy Tarot because I know originally I had seen, back when I did the first version of this, which was a message from the crows. I know the audio was bad, but the idea came from seeing Celtic Fairy Tarot's version of this reading. So definitely check out her channel if you haven't already, but this is not a collaboration. And then the second person I wanted to give a shout out to was actually Gold Key Guidance, who actually just started doing a shamanism course, which is amazing. I think currently she's in part 2 of a series, so if you're interested in shamanism, definitely check out Gold Key Guidance Shamanism, and I'll have a link to her channel in the description. I don't have the drums on right now, but during the reading the drums are going to be audible, so if you want to go on your own journey, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise it's just there for you. So as always, I have 3 piles for you to choose from. We have pile 1, pile 2. Oh yeah, in case you didn't notice, I'm decked out with all the feathers and crow jewelry. And then pile 3. So if you need more time, of course, you can pause the video now. I'm going to have a still image of all of the piles for you to choose from. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in this reading. Hi, pile 1. If you chose the black tourmaline, this is going to be your reading. A message from the crows. So let's take a look and dive right in. What do the crows have to say? What is their guidance and their message for you now? If you're watching this reading, then it's very likely that they've been trying to communicate with you directly. And so just be mindful of the things you think about when they come through and visit physically or make noise. Actually, when I thought of doing this reading, and I was just thinking to myself, should I do the crow's message reading with shamanic drumming? And immediately I got a response. A crow just came out of nowhere and started making noise. And the very first card that comes up actually has the crow on it. And this is interesting. It represents one side here. That might be the case. The crow representing either your shadow or your higher self, both of which have a point to be made. And it's the harmony of these sides of you that'll bring the most peace and the best results. And so balance isn't just about, it is about being centered, but the heart is actually in between the solar plexus and the third eye, the will, and really the feminine energy, an energy of receptivity. And it's interesting how difficult it might be to be in both of those states at once, but if that's something that you're able to accomplish throughout the day, I just feel as though, not that you'll be in a trance, but things will just run a lot smoother than they have been lately. We have the 5 of Pentacles. This might be a state that you're in right now. Maybe not so much that you are in scarcity or that you don't have enough money or the resources needed, but in comparison to others, it might seem that way. And I think that's part of what the crows are asking is, if you find yourself in that comparison mode, that it's not exactly helpful, you know. Comparison is like the thief of joy. I think that's a quote. But otherwise, just consider where you are on your journey in comparison to where you were a day ago, a week ago, a month ago. It's all about you, and putting that focus back to you is the first step in getting your power back. The third card is the Queen of Wands. This is really a card about the self and really empowering energy, witchcraft potentially, working with flowers, feathers, other birds, of course. And it kind of reminds me that the more in tune you are with yourself, the more in tune other people that come into your life will be with you. If you felt that maybe you've met friends or past lovers, things like that just aren't aligned with who you are, and you're wondering why, it's because you aren't, or you haven't been aligned to your true self. I don't want to say pure, but it's like a mixture of your inner child and your higher self and your shadow. Like, they all come together, and that's who you are at the deepest level, the most honest version of you. And the more that you align with that you allow that version of you to blossom into reality, the more that reality will respond to that version of you. And then we have the Mother of Roots, which is the Queen of Pentacles. And that's really also part of what will change this Five of Pentacles into Ten of Pentacles, kind of doubling up, having true independence, financial freedom. So it's like when you have the freedom within yourself, that freedom is mirrored in the external world. And I also find it interesting that we have the two queens, and I associate queens with an absolute mastery of each element, so both passion and a connection to the body, the physical world, but more so it's the union of these queens that will bring the most success. And I think that's what this Temperance card is trying to say, to unionize this passion and a slow-moving energy, really. It's kind of bringing together fast and slow at the same time. And also with the queens, it's about you. It's kings would be more of governing other people and spreading the wisdom of fire, for example, and being a leader to others. But these cards are about a leadership of self-mastery, as I said again. Let's get some more cards from a different tarot deck. Yeah. If you've been feeling stuck, it's more internal work. Well, it's not just internal work. It's, again, like that balance of meditation was going to be incredibly important for this pile. But also understanding what chords you still have connected to other people, other mindsets. And interestingly enough, I don't think people consider, like, when they think of cord cutting, it's cutting the cords from past lovers, again, family members, potentially, relationships, negative energy. But it's rare that we think about cutting cords to your past self. And I think that might be a journey you'd want to go on, is potentially cutting cords to who you used to be, seeing as that's not relevant anymore. It's interesting that we have the Temperance card show up twice. Oh no, wait. This is the Star. I thought of Temperance though, so I'm just going to leave that there. Aquarius coming through. But the card clarifying Temperance was actually the Chariot. And this Chariot is moving. If you look at the tarot, the Rider-Waite tarot, the chariot is actually still, it's not moving. But then again, you see the yin and yang in the seahorses for the chariot, and then on the temperance card you could see them up top as the birds. So again, bringing those two parts of you into balance. And I had mentioned with the labyrinth the potential of cord cutting, and we do see the crow at the bottom. I think that's a direct message to that version of yourself. Don't be afraid to venture into kind of shadowy thoughts that you've had, maybe dream work. If you find yourself daydreaming of specific events in your past, it might be a good time to cleanse that energy. And it's interesting that it's like a blend of being active within the meditative space, because when you're in the meditative space, you're passive. You're almost getting close to sleep, but not sleeping. And that requires relaxation. But then once you're in there and you're in the relaxed state, you kind of be active again in a way. Like, that's how you communicate. Not only receive messages from your spirit guides, but also potentially change the perspective or heal your past self, is with an active mind in that regard, where you go in and say, I've grown so much from this experience, I've grown so much since this version of myself that no longer exists, but did aid me in becoming this version. We do have the Prince of Pentacles with Osiris. I'm kind of getting a sense of mummifying your old mindset regarding money. That even if you have not known the prosperity you think you can achieve, that doesn't mean it's not possible. That tomorrow, not to be too cliche, but is a new day, a new opportunity to be a new version of yourself. And all it takes is one moment to kind of snowball into a series of events that lead to this star, really. Lead to an experience that might seem otherworldly. There we go. And so this work might be done at night. We also notice that the chariot is in the water as well. And so you might be drawn to do this sort of work, this not only shadow work, not only cutting cords and shamanism, but also dream in the water. Maybe you get clearer visions when you're around water, where you're underwater. Think of where you want to go, who you want to be. The clearer the vision, the more obvious it'll be when something is blocking your path, whether it be a habit that you're indulging in that doesn't serve that highest version of you, whether it be a person, whether it be a job. Finally, the last oracles we have is play with the number 36, which goes to 9, which is tied to, well, 3 and 6, I think of 3 with the queens, and we have 2 queens there, and then 6, which is heart-centered energy, and then the 9, of course, coming back to the self. And these are all energies that have been shown throughout the reading. Kind of like, I think in a short I did recently, there was a card that came out as sacred play, that it is sacred, that it is not only a chance to relax, but also to receive wisdom from this inner child that gets to come out once in a while. And then we have exposed. What's interesting is the direct connection it has to the star card, where the star is usually naked. Not only that, but the number 17 is showing up twice. Allow yourself to live this dream and share it with others. Maybe that could be what brings like-minded people towards you. maybe that's what brings, as I said, attract people who are aligned to this version of you that you want to exist in the physical. Dream big, cut the cords to anything, especially past thoughts that are keeping you from moving forward, keeping you in an energy of fear, because that fear is holding you back. So yeah, I'm going to end the reading with that. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 2. If you chose the Mystic Merlinite, this is going to be your reading. A message from the crows. Let's dive right in. What do the crows have to say? So there's a balance of Cups and Wands energy, with the Ace of Cups at the bottom. Joy. It seems as though this pile is in a good place energetically, like you probably have momentum. We do see 2 4s, so you might be at a place of not only security and stability with yourself and your environment, but that might shift from having pure joy and ecstasy and then an immense amount of boredom, and that might be something you notice throughout the day. So part of what the crows might want to say is to find that balance between them, or to ride the wave. Like, it might be a mix of both, if that's something that you've noticed, not only at this time, but in general, where when you have the energy to do so, just go and do the things that you set out, or just run with it. Allow yourself to be a little impulsive. But also, when you reach the 4 of Pentacles, the 4 of Cups, I'm going to show you the cards in a second, but when you reach that stage, don't try and avoid boredom. Allow boredom to be there. Be bored. There might be hidden wisdom within that experience. You're just breathing, you're just observing, you're just sitting there. I think that is necessary to be satisfied, actually, because a lot of times we participate in behaviors just to avoid that sensation, and those behaviors are usually not all that great. A good example, an easy example, is eating just because you're bored. And usually the foods that we eat at that time are not the best for our bodies or our minds. But let's look at the cards. The 4 of Wands. This might be an indication that morning is the best time for you to get things done. Work out, walk, connect with your body in the morning, but also plan your day. Don't wait until even the night before. I think morning is a good time to just run and do. We do have the Father of Horns being the King of Pentacles. Interesting how much water there is there, though. I almost thought this was Cups, actually. We'll take a look at what this means right now, actually. Why is this Father of Horns here, please? The 9, I guess, of Horns. Yeah, it's the same thing. This kind of feels like Capricorn energy. This kind of feels like creating abundance for yourself. And that abundance comes with planning. So planning in a practical sense, but also being receptive to your own cycles. It's a mix of these things, kind of hinting back at pile 1, where, but it was different for that. So if you're interested in that reading, you can go ahead and select pile 1, but otherwise this is more of respecting your own body's cycles within the day, month, year, weekly cycles, things like that. So your planning is based off of kind of like a record of how you feel throughout the day and allowing time to rest. We do have the Two of Wands, which the card says success, but it is Aries. I think it's Mars in Aries. Very powerful energy here. And this kind of feels like foresight. You might be in this position right now, which is the Four of Cups. Feels like nothing's moving, but everything you need is around you. And again, this is kind of a reminder from the crows that this could just be a phase. And you don't need to rush through it. I think a lot of times people say, kind of get your mind out of it, be active or anything like that, but just allow for yourself to sit and be bored again. The success comes with foresight, with planning ahead, with thinking about tomorrow, planning for tomorrow, and scheduling things. But this schedule isn't based off of someone else's needs. And so I could imagine this pile having trouble working for other people. It's an interesting card to have here. I'll take all these. Yeah. This pile is definitely not one who works well for other people. I don't think you're good employees, no offense. But you're leaders. And I think what's interesting is this Trojan horse, which is a little unexpected. But I kind of get a sense of tricking yourself. Is that you're not somebody who likes structure in your life. You like to be spontaneous, which is why I'd mentioned impulsive behaviors might be beneficial for you. But it's kind of like if you could plan a part of your day to allow for impulsive behavior, it's weird. It's like a planned impulsivity. So there might be a certain part of the day where you just allow yourself to run around in circles, probably the morning, and then creating a structure for yourself. I think part of this is you don't like when other people give you structure, but structure is absolutely necessary in your life. I mean, you could argue everybody's, but specifically for working at your highest potential. We do have Quest here. And this Quest card came underneath the Father of Horns. So there's definitely a desire to travel. And I also think that this travel could bring in money for you. There's a lot of money-making potential with movement, with connecting to people outside of your immediate environment. We also see mountains here. And we also see that this Father of Horns is on top of a mountain. And so that higher perspective could be something that helps you see a bigger picture than your day-to-day. And we also see the same, I don't think this is a crow, this is a different type of bird, but that same bird is in both images. And these birds are not in every image of this tarot deck. So that's something to keep in mind, the connection between Quest and the Trojan horse. Maybe you find a way to travel that is unconventional. Maybe it's through a business trip in a company that you don't really want to work for, but hey, they let you travel, and then through that opportunity, you can make connections and maybe get a work visa and then just be done with the place you're living in now. We do have the Ten of Pentacles, which is a beautiful card considering you got the Nine of Pentacles earlier. And so for those of you who are interested in starting a family, that's coming through very strongly, that even if you already have a family now, that you can potentially grow and expand that family, but also allow this travel to include other people, especially with the Four of Wands being there. The Four of Wands being Aries, Venus and Aries, so that love and compassion for others that are close to you, that are aligned with who you are. Then we have the Alchemist card, which is absolutely beautiful. It is the Magician, and making these things happen. I think this pile really is about control. It's about structure, which is why I keep going back to Capricorn specifically, or any cardinal signs, where you are in charge of your life, but in a way you need to respect your own rhythm with the drum, your own rhythm. Be observant to, or observe the rhythm, the cycles of nature, of the moon. Cycles are huge for you, and when you learn to ride the wave of these cycles, and you learn how to kind of insert yourself in these rhythms, there's just that kind of momentum that cannot be stopped in achieving whatever goals you want. So the goals, the desires that you have are entirely up to you, and creating a day based around these cycles is up to you, but the structure is necessary. So whatever standard you set for yourself needs to be followed thoroughly. I'm thinking of, I don't have that many examples, but I'm thinking of like dieting, let's say for a competition or something. So I'm talking like more advanced bodybuilding, not that I do it, but where you keep track of, first of all, everything. So you log every meal you have, which is part of understanding yourself. Maybe journaling throughout the day, seeing how you feel regularly. Do it every couple hours. Take note of what you're doing, how you feel as you're doing it, time of day, what you ate. Maybe not that intense, but it's just an example. And then from there, it's more of just tracking, logging, and then seeing, for the example of what you eat for bodybuilding, looking at the macros, looking at the percentages of calories, and then modifying it. See where you can maybe cut corners a little bit with the food, but then again, you don't have to compromise eating things you actually enjoy. You just find variations of those things. So instead of chicken parmesan with the breaded chicken, you could do grilled chicken, but you could still have the sauce. It's kind of an out there example, but that level of detail and modification, not specifically with eating, but with your way of navigating through the day, that level of detail is what's going to get you into completely different realms of reality almost. And I think that's where this magician comes in. That was a long example, sorry. We have the Freedom card. So that contrasts the sense of structure that you need to build. That's kind of that paradox, but they complement each other. That's what freedom is. Creating a structure for yourself. And then we have communication. So of course, look for the crows for communication, but also look for communication within yourself. And that's what I meant about logging, taking notes about how you feel, about your body, about just take notes, really. Communicate with yourself. The more you understand yourself, the more you're able to live at your highest potential. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the reading there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose the Smoky Quartz, this is going to be your reading. A message from the crows. So let's jump right into your reading. What messages do the crows have for you? there's no rush. For this pile specifically, there's no rush. Yeah, the card that came out facing up was this victory card, which is the Six of Wands. Beautiful energy with Leo. I don't remember if it was the Sun or Jupiter, but I think either way, it's almost showmanship. And then we have the 9 with accomplishment. So wonderful energy so far is that you're already on that path, with orange showing up very strongly, very expansive solar plexus chakra. So you're well on your way, and I think that's part of it, is why the no rush I was going to say the card, but really the thought of not being in a rush is however long it takes for you to get to the place you actually want to be, instead of settling and trying to take shortcuts. Because, as you know, when you try and make shortcuts, especially with building things, building stability for yourself, building anything, any kind of structure, and this happens, unfortunately, with a lot of American-made products, where I'm not a part of this, but try and use cheaper materials to create things that just don't last, but we sell them to try and make big profit margins, which is unfortunate, but it's always apparent. You can't really hide the lack of quality, and I think this level of quality is something that you strive for. This card reminds me of a cover of an album for a metal band that did a cover of the Ice Shaking King, which is one of the songs I did for the shorts recently. If I remember correctly, that song was in the short of what would a tarot reader say about you or describe you. You might want to look at that. There might be something there for you, especially after watching this reading. I'm sure it will connect somehow. What I also notice is that both of these birds have something. They've caught a prey. So what is it that you're trying to catch? And again, with these birds, there's a certain amount of discipline and patience required to get the prey that's necessary, because of course, even the prey has means of escaping, of camouflaging, of moving, of attacking back. And so I think this patience that you've already shown is paying off for you, especially in the long run. Let's look at the other two cards. So those two cards actually came out last. The first two are hidden. I don't know. There's probably a good reason for that. I still haven't flipped them over, but the fact that you don't have to know the steps that it takes to get to where you want to go. As long as you set your sights on victory, on whatever that means for you, keep that path clear, and then the joy is in, well, sometimes it's not joyful, but that journey towards success, accomplishment, victory is the fun part. Because if you knew every step along the way, it's kind of like knowing the plot of a movie before you see the movie. There's exceptions, of course. There's fun movies that are better on a second rewatch, but in general, if you know what's going to happen, the experience, that rush, isn't the same. And I do think that this pile, because with the Leo and general with fire, there's you get excitement when you don't know. You like surprises. So the first card we have is the Queen of Swords. Moving slow. I didn't look at these cards, I'm telling you. I literally said there's no rush. I couldn't imagine a slower animal. Look at that. You take your time to climb to the top to get a vantage point, a view. And what's interesting is that the two birds that show up later move very quickly. And so yeah, maybe your life feels a bit slow right now, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. That doesn't mean that you're always going to be stuck and slow. This is just a necessary step, and you probably won't know why until later. maybe your spirit, your body, your mind needs to develop to align with whatever path it is that you set for yourself in the future. And then we have the Three of Pentacles work. I find it incredibly amusing just how slow these cards are. I mean, we do have the Nine of Pentacles, but the energy within the imagery is quite fast as opposed to this. So yeah, it does take work, it takes collaboration, it takes having the right tools and the right equipment. So I do think for a lot of you, this is a mix of moving toward a more authentic expression of yourself, and I do think that expression involves having the resources to show that part of you to others, but I also think that for some of you who are creatives, that it means getting money to, for example, if you want to DJ, to get a whole DJ set. Like, most crafts, most hobbies take money, like even if you like to draw. So something with art, if you wanted to go from regular drawings with pen and paper to digital art, and then you go more advanced, you might want to do like splash art for video games or something like that. But that takes, you need like Adobe whatever, Adobe Illustrator or something. You need like a tablet to most accurately draw, well, not draw accurately, but comfortably. And a lot of times those things cost money. For example, shameless example, like, I don't want to get a cheap guitar because it turns me off to practicing. Like, if the instrument is cheap, I won't know if it's me that sounds bad or the instrument. I'd rather get something that's of the highest quality. To be honest, like, in a lot of ways, that's what I did with tarot. I get decks that you don't really get on Amazon because I just can't feel engaged to anything when the material feels like it won't last. And I think for this pile, that's something that you feel with your hobbies or where you want to go. So even if it's like a small business, if you're creating a website, you don't want just any website. You want it to be reflective of the level of quality in the service that you offer. You want it to be you want it to represent the quality of your spirit in a lot of ways, without exaggerating. We have the High Priestess, the Star card coming up again, the Two of Wands, and the Wayfarer, which is the Hermit. It's interesting that we have the Hermit and the High Priestess. Going back to that slower energy that you might be at right now, there's a lot of wisdom within yourself in navigating this world, in creating these opportunities for yourself. And I think with the Star being here and the Two of Wands, it just feels like there are many paths that can get you to where you want to go. And it is ultimately up to you. But look, I don't know, there's just something interesting about all of these cards. Hopefully I could show these to you properly. They're all women, first of all. And I know there are plenty of tarot decks that are all women, but this one isn't. So I think that's interesting. I also find it interesting that they're all alone. I'll just pull another. You could consider it part of the reading, but it's not meant to be. I'm just showing an example. Oh God, I guess it is. Another woman alone. Look at that. I'm trying. Let me just. See, this is just an example, right? Like, these cards don't figure, or they don't feature singular imagery. They don't feature one person alone in the card, which is why I find this a bit striking. Is that even the example I pulled previously with the Seven of Wands, It's all, not to say you're a woman, whatever gender, it's irrelevant, but well, it might be relevant a little bit, because I think the divine feminine with this pile has a lot of wisdom, and is the key to your success in a lot of ways, which is in sharp contrast to one of the previous piles, which I had mentioned had a lot of solar plexus energy, a lot of Mercury, very masculine, very, very masculine. So I don't know if you were drawn to one of the other piles, but this one it's more of allowing the path to make itself known to you and to be in that. That's why this Queen of Swords, it's just kind of ridiculous that the Queen of Swords, a card that is usually incredibly fast, is so slow. It feels like a contrast. It might be uncomfortable for you, but it is necessary. The amount of time that it's taken so far, and you might not even feel like you've made any progress, but it's simply not true. The wisdom that you've gained through your patience is what's going to unlock the doors to the rest of your life, potentially, but unlock the doors really to your dreams coming true. So let's get these 3 cards and close out the reading. We have perspective. Yeah, I was going to try and fix it, but no, that's supposed to be upside down. Look at that. Perspective. Also perspective with the Hermit. Perspective with the stars. All of these figures are in different places. And so how do you see yourself throughout the day? How do you navigate different mindsets? How does your body react physically to being in different environments? How does your heart react to the things that you're thinking? And being receptive to whatever it is that your body feels is the way forward for you. We have Soar. And Soar is alluding to the cards that came later in the beginning of the reading. With accomplishment and victory. The soaring, I think that's why the reading started with those 2 very fast, very positive cards, is because you might not see it yet, but keep your mind focused on that feeling and know that it's coming. And it's like this spiritual development, this wisdom and growth is necessary for you to fly as fast as you can later on and to be in that position that you want to be in the future. It's part of your development. And then we have waterproof. I'm going to get another card for that, actually. Why is this waterproof card here? It could be, look, observation. Very similar to the perspective card we got earlier. Try not to get emotionally attached to whatever situation you're in, because that is going to pass, right? It kind of feels like a detachment from your reality for right now. So wherever you are, if you're in a work environment that you don't find ideal, if you're in a relationship or a friendship that you don't find ideal, it's not punishment. It's just a temporary step in your journey, and it does feel like a long journey, but don't rush it, because in a lot of ways it's a demonstration of your power and a demonstration of how far you can go on your own. So stay strong. I say that a lot, but I do mean it. Especially the more powerful you are, I think the more difficult the journey might become. It's like the obstacles, the boss battles kind of match your level of difficulty, and so it's kind of the universe's way of making this journey not too easy, but also ultimately the most rewarding out of any other main character on this journey on Earth towards whatever success means to you. But yeah, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the reading. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care.